Hello and welcome everyone to our podcast style presentation. Today we'll be diving into one of the most powerful and inspiring films we watch, The Pursuit of Happiness. This movie isn't just a story, it's a real life journey filled with resilience, motivation, leadership, and raw emotional strength. We've taken this incredible film and looked at it through the lens of organizational behavior. And trust me, there's so much more to talk about. From emotional intelligence to decision making under pressure, this film brings theories that we have learned in class to life. So, for the next 30 minutes or so, we'll be taking you on that journey. I'll be your host and I'll be asking my team some important questions based on the key topics they've covered in the report. So, sit back, imagine we are all in a podcast studio, and let's explore the real meaning of the film Pursuit of Happiness. Next slide, please. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm your host. My name is Manvir Singh Sandhu, anak lelaki Rashpal Singh, matrix number 230992. And joining me today are my team members.
Hi everyone, my name is Hafizul Hakim bin Rosli. My metric number is 227435.
Hello everyone, my name is Putri Dania binti Syaril Aswan and my metric number is 228703.
Hello everyone, my name is Alia Maisara binti Jabdan Elias Ayub and my metric number is 230855.
Assalamualaikum and good evening everyone. My name is Muhammad Haziq Haikal bin Muhammad Toha. My metric number is 229313.
Thank you everyone for the introduction. Before we get into the questions, next slide. Did you know The Pursuit of Happiness is not just a movie, it's based on the real life memoir by Chris Gardner himself. It was published in 2006. Now you know. Next slide. Also, let me introduce to you some major characters in the movie. First, Linda, who plays Chris's wife, which is portrayed by Sandy Newton. Christopher Gardner Jr., who plays Chris's youngest son, who is portrayed by Jaden Smith. And then himself, Chris Gardner, who is portrayed by Will Smith, a struggling salesman who becomes homeless and a determined father who never gives up on his dreams. Jay Twistle, who plays Brian Ho, a manager at Nvidia. James Karen, who plays Martin Tom, a senior partner at Nvidia. Next slide. It is high time that we begin our discussion. I would like to begin by asking one of my members. For anyone who hasn't watched movies Pursuit of Happiness, can you share what we feel about what makes Chris Gardner so inspiring and powerful?
Okay, thank you Manvir. So I'm going to explain about some of the movie summary from the movie The Pursuit of Happiness. So let's walk through the unforgettable journey of this movie together. So it all starts with a big race. So Chris Gardner invests all his savings into high-tech bone density scanners and he hoped to sell them to doctors. Sounds like a smart move, right? But actually, the sales don't take off. And then his money run out. This makes his marriage that is already shaky. And then the stress breaks it. His wife Linda leaves him and their son. And then suddenly Chris is left with nothing but a little boy who depends on him, which is his own son. So let's move on to the next segment, which is a father's responsibility. Now, imagine being broke, but having a child who needs you. Chris steps up, he fights for custody and wins. So he takes care of his son, but he has no job, no income, and no home. Yet he never gives up. Day by day, he's trying to sell his scanners from hospital to hospital. By night, he's trying to figure out how to survive. It's more than a responsibility, but it's more to devotion of a father. So for the segment 3, which is a new opportunity, here's when fate meets hustle. So one day, Chris impresses a manager at Dean Witters. by solving a Rubik's Cube during a taxi ride. So that moment lands him a spot in a highly competitive internship program. The catch, the internship program is actually unpaid. So he's up against 20 candidates, but only one will get a real job at the end. And Chris, he got nothing to lose. For segment 4, which is against all odds, this is the hardest part to watch actually, and the most inspiring for me. So Chris and his son got evicted. They sleep in homeless shelters and sometimes in subway toilets. But every single morning, Chris shows up for work. Fresh shirt, tie on, but no one knows he's homeless. He studies at night and he works by day, but he never complains. He just keep going. And for segment 5, victory and transformation, this moment will give you chills. Chris is called into the office and then he's offered the job. He tried to stay calm, but the tears run down anyway. He steps outside and he runs to his son because it's not just a job, it's a dream that finally became real. And lastly, for segment 6, real life success. The story doesn't end there. Chris Gardner, the real man, the real Chris Gardner, went on to become a successful stockbroker and then a multimillionaire and then a business owner. And today, he's a philanthropist, a mentor that proves your past doesn't define your future. So that is for the movie summary. In short, um, Chris Gardner's journey shows us that no matter how dark life gets, there's always light if you keep moving forward. That is all from me. Thank you.
Wow, thank you for that wonderful summary, Putri. Now, let's analyze deeper into the issues behind the story. So, I would like to invite my team member Alia. This movie highlights some real struggles. In your opinion, what were the core issues shown in the film, and as a team, how did we stand against those issues?
All right, Manvir, thank you for the question. As for the core issue, this film is packed with meaningful core issues that it is not just an inspiring story about chasing dreams, but it is also a reflection to us about the harsh realities that many people face in their daily lives. Through this journey that the main character Chris Gardner faced, the film highlights several core issues that continue to exist in our society today. The first core issue is about poverty and unemployment, where the film illustrates how financial instability can affect every aspect of a person's life, including relationships, mental health, and even personal dignity. Secondly, it is about the career struggles faced by Chris Gardner. The film highlights how difficult it is to find stable and well-paying paying employment, especially for those who are lack qualifications or face discrimination and judgment based on their appearance. Despite, next slide please. Right. Despite countless obstacles and challenges that the main character faced throughout the entire movie, he refused to give up on his dream of giving his son a better life. This reflects his perseverance, determination, as well as the strong motivation. It shows that these films promote the idea of resilience in the face of adversity. Next slide. All right. As for the stand on core issue, I believe that this film remain highly relevant and reflective of the realities faced by many individuals in today's society. It is because issues such as Poverty, unemployment, homelessness, and social inequality continue to be persistent challenges in various parts of this world. The movie powerfully highlights how difficult life can be for those who lack of financial security, social connections, or equal opportunities to improve their circumstances. It serves as a reminder to all of us that harsh realities that often go unnoticed and silent struggles faced by people around us every day. And I truly admire how the film portrays the importance of resilience, perseverance, and self-belief in overcoming adversity. Through the main character, the story teaches us that setbacks, failures, and even hardships are unavoidable. It is because, but it is also our attitude in facing those challenges that ultimately defines our journey. This movie beautifully illustrates that despite being pushed to the brink of despair, a person's spirit and determination can keep them moving forward, even when the odds are stacked against them. Therefore, I strongly agree with the message that success should not be determined by one's background, social status, or financial situation, but by the values, efforts, and the way they try to chase their own dreams. So, furthermore, I believe that both accessible support system and inclusive positive environment for individuals from all walks of life. It is through collective effort, compassion that sorry that we put in order to achieve a better life. In short, this movie left a lasting and meaningful impression to me personally, that it is not only inspired me to stay focused, resilient, and driven in pursuing my own goals and ambitions, but also reminding me the importance of empathy and kindness. I am reminded to be supportive of others who are on their own journey, to offer encouragement and opportunities whenever possible, and to never underestimate the power of hope. The main character, Chris Gardner's courage and determination and unwavering belief in a brighter future serve as a powerful example that no matter how difficult life may become, we must keep moving forward and never give up on ourselves or other people around us. Right, that's all from me.
Wow, that was very well said, Alia. Thank you so much. This movie is definitely a reflection of real world struggles. Next slide. Now, let's talk about how the film connects to what we have been learning in our organizational behavior course. Please allow me to welcome Haziq and Pijol. Can you explain how the movie includes organizational behavior concepts and how do these ideas help us better understand Chris Gardner's journey?
Okay, thank you Manvir for our moderator at this evening. First thing first, I will explain about emotions and moods. Emotions are intense, discrete, short-lived, often caused by a specific event. There are two types of emotions, which are positive emotions, such as joy and gratitude, and negative emotions, such as anger and guilt. In contrast, mood is more general and long-lived emotional state that arise without specific events. In organizational behavior, emotions and moods could influence the person, whether it could give a positive impact, such as inspiring creativity, or it could give a negative impact, like causing withdrawals. And in this film, Chris Gardner experienced both in extreme forms throughout the film. For an example, In Pursuit of Happiness, the main character, which is Chris Gardner, faced intense emotional loss due to poverty, homelessness, and job rejection. At the same time, his mood fluctuates as he deals with sleeping in shelters, losing his wife, and trying to raise his son alone. These situations trigger his emotions like despair, fear, and frustration, which could easily lead to long-term depression. However, he is constantly smiling and being polite despite being homeless and exhausted. This shows us that he is practicing emotional labor and surface acting. So, what is emotional labor? Emotional labor is the process of managing emotions to fulfill the emotional requirements of a job. This could be linked with surface acting, which is faking emotions, and deep acting. What is deep acting? Deep acting is the person trying to genuinely feel the required emotion. Chris Gardner suppressed his feelings of stress, fear, exhaustion, replacing them with professionalism and enthusiasm. He performs surface acting to maintain how emotional labor can be mentally taxing but necessary in service-oriented roles. In short, next slide please. In short, emotions and moods are both part of the effective experience in life, especially in our workplace. However, some emotions are ethically charged in response to moral situation. For an example, at the end of Pursuit of Happiness, the word of "you are high" are the most precious words that have been told to Chris Gardner throughout the film. He stepped outside, clapped silently, tears up, and walks among the crowd with a deep sense of joy and fulfillment. This moment could be explained by affective event theory. Affective event theories explains how workplace events could trigger our emotional reactions, which will influence our work, attitudes, and performance. Therefore, as a leader, we must foster environments that enhance positive mood and psychological safety. Organization must support employee emotional well-being to improve their productivity, loyalty, and innovation. For the next segment, I will pass to Hafizul.
Thank you, Hazid Haika, for such a very good presentation about the first topic about our organization behavior on the pursuit in happiness, the movie review. Okay, so thank you also to Manvir as our moderator today. And today, right now, I'm going to explain more on the next topic that we learn in organizational behavior, which is the motivation concept, if you remember, chapter 7, if I'm not mistaken. So, we all seen the movie, The Pursuit of Happiness. So, we want to ask that why why the main character keep on push himself? What pushed him? What kept him fighting through the hardest day of his life. So let's break it down through the lens of motivation concepts on how on how can we apply to the real life and how Chris Gardner embodies them. So let's start with the basic part, which is what is motivation? So basically, in simple terms, motivation is what drives us. It's the force behind the energy we put into chasing goals and how intensely we try, how we focus, how long we stick with it, and even when things get tough. So Chris Gardner is a really good example in this movie that shows a living example of moving in action. So when we want to elaborate about motivation, we focusing on the what the in here focus on three theories, which are the Maslow hierarchy of needs, content-based theory, and also process-based theory. The first one, Maslow hierarchy of needs. So let's take a look down on the first level of Maslow theory first. So it has 5 levels of needs, starting from the physiological safety, social belongingness, esteem, and also self-actualization. So the physiological and safety needs, for example, food, shelter, and stability. He loses his home, his savings, and he left, trying to survive with his little boy. But here's what powerful. Even when life is uncertainty, Chris never stopped showing love and care for his son. That's the belongingness need, the human need for connection. He holds on it fiercely. As the story progresses, he gets into an unpaid internship. If you remember the part where he got into internship, but it is unpaid, working harder than everyone else just to prove himself. That's the esteem of need, the drive to earn, respect to feel competent, and show the world what what you are capable of. And when he finally lands to the job as a stockbroker, he finally reached the highest hierarchy of the Maslow hierarchy of needs, which is the self-actualization, which is on the top of the pyramid. He finds his purpose. He finds his purpose. I'm so sorry, and his potential, and starts a new chapter of life. Moving on to the content-based theory, which is it is quite I want to focusing on the one content-based theory, which is self-determination theory. So self-determination theory focusing on the three things, which is the autonomy, the competency, and the relatedness. In this story, I will zoom on two, which is autonomy and also competence. So what is autonomy? When we talk about autonomy, it's about making your own choice, doing something because you want to, and because someone else told you to. In the movie, the main character, Chris Gardner, had every excuse to give up. No money, no job, no stability. But however, he chose to fight for his life. He chose to enter that unpaid internship, which is very competitive because he believed in something more. That is autonomy. Nobody's asked him to do that. Now let's talk about the competency. Competence. So this is the need to feel capable, like you know what you're doing, you're getting better at. Chris spent long nights studying, learning, working. He sharpens his skill, he proves himself, and slowly he becomes more confident to build his own confidence. And that shows internal growth, which is a show of motivation. And last but not least, on the process-based theory, which is I want to explain about the expectancy theory. So, here is the idea. So, people are motivated when they believe that their effort will lead to good performance, and that performance will lead to a reward that they really care. In Chris' case, he believed that if I work hard, I'll perform well. He also believed that in quote of if I perform well, I will get the job. That's why he very passionate in his work. And the reward is yes, he finally get a better life for himself and his son. That is the hope, that belief that keep his life going on to go. So, so what can we learn from all this? So Chris Gardner's story is more than just a feel-good movie. It shows a master class in real life motivation on what motivation theories and concept is all about. So whether it's struggling through life's lowest moments, staying committed to your goals, or fighting for something bigger than yourself, motivation is the engine that drives your success. As a closure, uh, as I can say that Maslow's hierarchy of need, content-based theory such as self-determination theory and also expectancy theory is a very good example of theory that should be applied on our daily basis. So moving on to another concept, I think, right, Mr. Haziq.
Yeah, thank you, Hafizul. So next slide, please. Okay, now we going through about decision making. Decision making is a process of selecting the best course of action among alternatives. In our lives, decision can range from career choice to routine daily task priorities. One of the decision making models that the main character in Pursuit of Happiness, as we know, Chris Gardner, he practiced is the rational model of decision making. This model assumes individuals are logical, objective, and even systematic in choosing the optimal solution. The decision maker must have complete information and choose the best option with the highest authority. Okay, we must take a lot of lesson from this Gardner. This is because when Chris Gardner decided to apply for the Dean internship, he implement all of the steps in the rational decision making model. Like we can see at the slide, the first one we must define the problem. The second one identifies decision criteria. Third one is allocated waste to the criteria, generate alternatives, evaluate all alternatives, and the last one is select the best alternatives. First of all, Chris defines all of the problem he faced, which is that his current career, which is bone scanner sales. Bone scanner sales is falling and causing inconsistent income for him. Then, he identifies that the decision criteria in which he wants a stable income and long-term career potential. This is very crucial to provide for his son. After that, Chris allocated weights to the criteria. For an example, job security and financial stability must be prioritized over short-term income. Generating alternatives is very important to his future. He thought that he either want to continue slinging scanners, take a lower paying job, or apply for an unpaid internship at Dean Writer. Next, he must evaluate all the alternatives that have been generated. For instance, he realized that selling scanners isn't working, low paying jobs won't help in the long term, but the internship could lead to the high rewards even though it is risky. And finally, he select the best alternative, which is internship. This is because this unpaid opportunity will give him the possibility of a career in the future, which will make Chris able to provide better living conditions for him and his son. Next slide, please. In conclusion, the rational decision-making model is based on objectives, data, and logical analysis. All of the process are not driven by emotion, personal bias, or guesswork. Quantitative data such as statistic and cost benefit, clear criteria of alternatives, and evidence-based reasoning to justify the final decision are the crucial part of the rational decision-making model. The financial and emotional stability that has been achieved by Chris Gardner is the proof that strategic and sustainable decision could minimize regret in the future. So that's all for me. The moderator can take it from. Thank you.
Wow, that was a really detailed and insightful reflection. Thank you, Vijol and Haziq, for that really insightful connection. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is a small detail that we have added. That is the real, as you can see beside Will Smith, that is the real Christopher Gardner that the movie is based about. Next slide. This is one of the famous quotes from Chris Gardner throughout the movie. If you got a dream, you got to protect it. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you to everyone for your insights. Before we wrap up, I'd like to share some personal reflections on what this movie has taught me personally and the values I hope to carry with me in life and pass on to my children one day. Next slide, please. Okay, done. This slide. Thank you. I would like to begin by giving Will Smith his props. I think Will Smith did an incredible job in portraying Chris Gardner by bringing the character's real-life struggles to life. But beyond his acting, the movie itself is more than just an entertainment. It's a guide to life. It teaches us about resilience, responsibility, and even leadership in its purest form. Chris Gardner sends a powerful message about choices we make during struggles and how those choices define us. He went through things many of us can't even imagine, from being homeless to losing his job and his marriage. Yet he never gave up, trying to build a better life for his son. That kind of determination is a reminder to stay strong during tough times and to never stop believing in a better future. Next slide. Allow me to share some key takeaways that I would personally want to pass on to my children one day. Next slide. The first one is about perseverance. Gardner was constantly faced with failure and rejection. He slept in train stations, was broke, and constantly faced failure, and yet he never gave up. It would have been easier to quit, but he didn't. That's what perseverance really means. It's not just about working hard, it's about continuing even when life knocks you down. And this is something I think all of us can relate to. We've all had those moments where we question ourselves. Am I good enough? Or is it even worth it? But Gardner teaches us that success often comes not from being the most talented, but from being the most determined. This idea connects with something we have learned in organizational behavior. If you remember, my team member mentioned self-efficacy. That belief in your own ability to achieve your goals. Gardner had a strong sense of self-efficacy. He believed in himself even when no one else did. And that belief, combined with his intrinsic motivation, is what kept him going. He wasn't chasing money, he was chasing stability for his son. He had a purpose, and that purpose fueled his actions. Gardner reminded us that it isn't about talent alone, but about the refusal to quit. That's something I would like to teach my son one day, or my children, sorry. Next slide. The second one is about the love and responsibility of a parent. Gardner showed us that a father's emotional and physical presence matters deeply. He never let his son feel the full weight of their struggles. He protected him, gave him hope, and made sure he always felt loved, even when he had nothing. No house, no job, barely any food, he still showed up for his son. And I think that's what real leadership looks like. Not just in offices, but in families through care and consistency. Sometimes leadership means being the rock someone can lean on. This is a value I hope to carry forward when I become a parent. To be present, supportive, loving, even when life is tough. Next, please. The third one is something I deeply admire personally about Gardner, which is the integrity Gardner showed throughout the movie. Gardner never resorted to dishonesty even when desperate. He was under extreme pressure yet never once cheated, lied, or stepped on others to succeed. And let's be honest, in the real world, especially in the corporate setting, it's easy to be tempted to take shortcuts. Gardner showed us that success built on honesty and values lasts longer than shortcuts. That's something I want my future children to know, that integrity might not always be rewarded, instantly, but in the long run, it builds trust in families, workplace, and societies. Next slide. Concepts that will explain. Okay, sorry. The Pursuit of Happiness is more than just a film, it's a life lesson. Next slide. Concepts that were explained by my team just now, such as motivation, decision making, and emotional control, are not just theories, they are real, impactful, and life changing lessons. Next slide, please. Okay, to wrap everything up, The Pursuit of Happiness is not just a story about overcoming hardship. It's a story about character, values, and making decisions that reflect who you are, even when life is cruel. It shows us that success is not about being the smartest, richest, or most talented. It's about being emotionally strong, staying true to your beliefs, and never losing sight of your purpose. Life can be tough, but there is always a way forward. With hope, hard work, and integrity, nothing is impossible. These are the lessons I'll carry with me throughout my life. These are the values we must carry and pass on to the next generation. Thank you everyone for joining me today in this podcast. I hope you all have a good day ahead. Bye.
Sorry, Manvir, but actually, let before we end our presentation, let's warm up for with our opinion. Can?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure, sure.
So, can you guys give your opinion about the movie? Personal opinion, eh? Okay, start with Putri first. Putri, what are your opinion about the movie? And how you will take the movie for your future?
Okay, thank you for the amazing question. So actually, the movie and also learning organizational behavior in general taught me that by being a good leader isn't just about achieving goals, but it's actually about doing it the right way. So for my future, I want to be able to carry the value of ethical decision making wherever I go. Because I've learned that by staying true to my own principle, even when it's hard actually for some time, I will always be, it will be always worth it in the long way, in the long run. Sorry. So this course and this movie didn't just shape my understanding of management itself, but it shaped the kind of person and individual that I want to be in my career in the future. So that is my opinion.
Okay, thank you, Putri. And how about you, Afizul?
I think that organizational behavior subject MGN3113 is very a crucial subject that everyone should learn about because it's not just learning in the class, but also we can apply all the theories, all the concept we learn, especially with Sir Mehan. We learn a lot with the real industry on business, on how the reality works. So as also to relate with this movie, I can say that we can see that that is the reality that will be going on for us, and we need to be prepared for our own soft skills and for our own preparation to face all the challenges and everything that will come to us. So I think that MGM 3113 is not just a subject, but it's also a core part that prepare us for the reality of business and reality of working life. Yes, thank you.
Okay, now let's hear from Miss Alia Maisara. Okay, I see that she is very excited to share her thought.
All right, thank you, Hazik, for the question. So, as for me personally, MGM 3113, I've learned that understanding people's emotions, motivations, and behavior is very essential in building a positive, resilient work environment. Just like in the movie we explained just now, The Pursuit of Happiness, where Chris Gardner's perseverance and emotional intelligence help him overcome obstacles, challenges, which these skills are crucial for personal and professional growth for me and all of us in the future. Therefore, this subject is very crucial to all of us. Alright, that's all from me.
So what
Yeah.
is your opinion, Aziz? Let's listen from you.
For me, organization behavior from Mr. Mihan is very, very good because he really give us a lot of exposure, real exposure. But sometimes it is very cruel. For example, Mr. Mihan has said to us that we can get promotion not because of how we act, but how others think to us. And in the movie, in the Pursuit of Happiness, that's how the Chris Gardner can get his job. One of the reason how Chris Gardner can get his job is when he gives his money, even though a little bit, to one of the executive in the company. So I think MGM 3113 is very, very good for us, especially for university student before going to working place. So the last one, our moderator, before we end our discussion, what are your thoughts?
Alright, thank you everyone for the joyful reflection and takeaway. I would like to end it by saying that one of the biggest takeaways I've gained from our OB course as a whole, I remember Sir Mehan said that it's about how we manage ourselves and how we respond to challenges. So in relation to this movie, watching Chris Gardner's journey really brought this to life for me. Concepts like emotional intelligence, motivation, and decision making aren't just theories in a textbook. They are real tools people use to overcome hardship and build a better future. What he had was self-belief, emotional control, resilience, all the things we have studied. Moving forward, I know I'll face my own tough situations, whether it's in my career, studies, or personal life. But thanks to this course and this movie, I've learned to approach those challenges with more awareness, strength, and purpose. And one day I hope to pass that mindset on to others, just like especially my future family, just like Chris Gardner did. So that's it everyone. Thank you and goodbye. Good night.